If you ever feel like you don't fit in with them, well, find us.
The Clone Wars wrapped up their Bad Batch arc with an unexpected twist and some pretty heavy foreshadowing that, you guys, Anakin might just turn to the dark side. So, let's dive into these Easter eggs. These episodes were previously released years ago as an unfinished animatic. Now it's interesting because there are a few key differences between these two versions. Usually there are deleted scenes, like Padme appearing as a mural on the Bad Batch's ship. But here, there are a couple new additions. One is the narration questioning Echo's loyalty in the intro.
However, Echo's horrifying experience behind enemy lines leaves lingering questions of his true loyalty.
And two is the touching ending where Echo joins the Bad Batch. Now this was new to the series and a great change. The original ending is the 501st celebrating the Bad Batch.
Let's hear it for the Bad Batch! I knew he could do it, boy!
But this new ending places the focus on Echo and highlights the cost of war. This decision is also foreshadowed by this painting of a skull on his chest plate. This is the emblem of the Bad Batch. The animatic also explains exactly why Tambor wouldn't have told Trench the algorithm was lost.
Tambor is a businessman, but if he divulges his failure, it won't just mean a profit loss. Trench will have his head.
The droid with Echo is a GH-7 medical droid that we've seen in Revenge of the Sith, delivering this infamous line.
She has lost the will to live.
I see that your will to live is measuring a 4. You will die now. Echo drops this horrifying line.
Unfortunately, I've been doing this for a while.
Meaning the whole time he's been wired up to the Techno-Union's machines, he was fully aware that he was sending his brothers to their deaths. Trench's ship is a Separatist dreadnought, the same class as Grievous's ship, the Invisible Hand from Revenge of the Sith. The squad takes off in a TC-3 shuttle, which would later evolve into the Imperial shuttles we saw in the original trilogy. And the scene where the Bad Batch are entering the ship reminded me a lot of this scene from Return of the Jedi.
Now we find out if that code is worth the price we paid.
It'll work. It'll work.
It's an older code sub, but it checks out. These other ships are Republic gunships and Republic frigates. On the Bad Batch's ship, we see this familiar poster again, which reads History Monthly in Arabesh. Now this looks like a holiday or a magazine to honor the first generation of clones. Now notice, this is an older style helmet, but it checks out. On the Separatist base, we can see Vulture droids, which first appeared in The Phantom Menace, and these little guys are J1 proton cannons. Also, the design of this base looks a lot like a Trade Federation droid control ship, like it could take off into space at any moment. And while we're talking ships, the fighters are BTL-B Y-Wings. These are the precursors to the Rebel Y-Wings, which are famous for standing by and watching X-Wings do all the real work.
We have shots fired!
Shots fired.
I want to briefly shout out the design of Admiral Trench, a giant spider person with armor made of several interlocking pieces that apparently hide battletech. It's cool that he's a spider, implying that he's a master tactician at the center of a wide web, who can detect even the slightest disturbance in his area. R.I.P. Trench, we will miss you. Notice Trench's T1 tactical droid has an emblem on his chest. Now this is Trench's signet. Notice it looks like his head with long mandibles. Mace Windu drops in.
Hello there.
And gives the droids an ultimatum.
I'm giving you an opportunity to peacefully lay down your weapons.
I always thought it was weird how the Clone Wars humanized the droids, giving them goofy personalities and voices. Like, if they're programmed for battle, how could they ever act out of self-interest?
Ah, well, it's my programming.
Unless all droids have some level of sentience, in which case Mace Windu is a mass frickin' murderer.
I have dismantled and destroyed over 100,000 of you Type 1 battle droids.
Echo's interface arm is standard issue on all mechanic droids. We've seen it from R2-D2 to BB-8. As a way to show he's plugged into their network. Also, his communicator looks like a Jedi communicator, which first appeared in The Phantom Menace and was built from a Gillette women's razor. I love to think of the props guy back in 1997 slapping some washers on his wife's razor, and 20 years later, it's the standard for an entire cottage industry. Echo discovers a bomb that could destroy all of Anaxis. Now, even though they prevent the bomb from exploding in this episode, eventually it probably detonates. In the series Star Wars Rebels, the Alliance scouts an asteroid orbiting Anaxis with an old Republic base for their new headquarters. We learned that the planet was destroyed at some point by a natural disaster, and that was probably this bomb. R.I.P. Anaxis. When Mace Windu travels to the base's core, this structure might look familiar. It's very similar to the core of the second Death Star, which the Rebels destroyed.
Compliments of Lando Calrissian.
It makes sense that they would have similar power cores. After all, the Geonosians designed the original plans for the Death Star before they were improved on by Imperial scientists like Galen Erso. When Anakin enters the bridge, he fights a BX commando droid, which we first saw in the episode Clone Cadets. Oh, and then there's this scene.
A Jedi. You're no good. I don't have such weaknesses.
That's a pretty heavy indication that Anakin's going to turn to the dark side. What was your reaction to this? Let me know in the comments. This was my reaction. Trench has died before. But I'm pretty sure this is him dead for real. Or at least this is. When they escape, Wrecker mows down droid after droid, making me wonder, why don't they just breed more clones like him? The Separatists make more than one kind of droid, so why not make a bunch of super strong clone shock troopers? Is it a price issue? I mean, they already breed one other kind of clone. This one's your mom. So that's it for the Bad Batch, but what did you guys think of the arc? Personally, I loved it. Some of my favorite Clone Wars episodes are the ones that humanize the soldiers that are always treated like fodder in other Star Wars media. Let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comments below, and if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy. Wash your hands.